Hey, Fran fam. Welcome to Life and Style with Francyne. I am your host, Francyne Walker. Here we are, 8 months later, and we are still in the midst of a pandemic. However, some people still don't believe that COVID-19 is real. I still can't believe that, even after 250,000 lives lost. However, my next guest is a COVID-19 survivor and a fitness trainer. She's fine too, y'all. Gorgeous pictures. Please join me in welcoming Tamika Harden to the show to talk about her ordeal with COVID. Hey, Tamika.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Let's talk about your experience with COVID. A lot of people are still in denial that this is a real thing. They still want to dismiss it as the flu, and that's far from the truth. Talk about what your ordeal was and how you found out. Just give us a background, of what that was like for you.
Well, back in March, like many of us, it was my first experience with COVID-19 in terms of understanding what was coming, how it was impacting the world, our communities, then later on our businesses. So back in March is when my business was forced to shut down. We were forced into quarantine, and it's also when I had tested positive for COVID-19. So it all happened in March, all at the same time. I had no clue what was coming. I had no time to prepare for what was happening. And it was just our brash reality of what was going on around the world. And it was like, you have to figure it out. So right before I was tested positive with COVID-19, I had to close my business. And I'm somewhat grateful, now looking back that I had to close because being asymptomatic with COVID-19 and not knowing that I had it until later on, I could have taken the chance of infecting several people. I see many clients per day. So I was forced to shut down. Then I began to feel ill right around the same time. I went through challenges at that time to get tested because this was at the height of COVID-19,
Sure.
right before the shutdown. And communities weren't prepared in terms of medical, the proper machines and medical supplies. So we weren't prepared, and our hospitals were full, and emergency sites and testing sites were just being put up. And I was denied twice testing due to high capacity, no appointments, long wait times with the CDC just to get through
Sure.
to get tested. So I experienced all of that at one time, from being shut down to testing positive to thanking God I made it through that with more of a milder case than what we've seen across the board.
Sure.
I have a client who was on a ventilator for 2 months in an induced coma.
Wow.
You're talking 30, 40 pounds, lost all muscular strength, and needs rehab and rehabilitation. I mean, I've seen so many cases of it, from deaths to needing rehabilitation to get back to just your normal basic functions. So I'm very grateful that my case was a milder case. I was really out for 3 weeks. I was ill to the point where I couldn't get out of bed. I had no desire to eat. All I could do was sleep, and just trying to understand what was happening to my body. My body was literally shut down. And once I found out what I had, all I could think about is my body was literally fighting this thing day in, day out. And that's really what it does. It attacks the body, attacks the respiratory system. And it's only if your body is strong enough to fight it.
Yeah. And you said you were asymptomatic. perfectly healthy. I mean, you're personal trainer. So you are kind of the embodiment of health.
Yes.
And here it is, I mean, it was the same way with me. And I was inside. I was isolated. I was already quarantined and then I got it. So don't even know how, but it's like, it's important to note, just as you said, your body is fighting this off. And if you're predisposed with anything,
Yes.
it makes it harder. But perfectly healthy people, that's
Yes.
what people are not understanding. You can be perfectly healthy, and then COVID wreaks havoc. You just said some people were on ventilators, 30, 40 pounds, induced comas. The effects, the long-term effects from fighting,
Yes.
you're just like, really, really, guys, we're still acting like this is not real.
And it's real. It is very real, and it's impacting families. It's impacting our lives. It's impacting our economy, our businesses. I mean, it's real. I don't know how much more real it can get for people to understand and to take it seriously. Like I'm just trained differently mentally, and I said, okay, I beat this thing in terms of my health.
Sure.
The world is somewhat shutting down. So I'm going to use this time to invest in my health more and invest in my business more. And I just used the rest of 2020 to focus on those things.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are not really paying attention to the time that we're in right now.
Yeah.
They're just going with the flow and allowing themselves to be blinded by all the propaganda that they see on television and social media, and the Birkin bag challenge and the 10K outfit challenge and this put the water bottle on your head challenge, and no shade to anybody for what they like.
Right.
Because listen, to each his own. If you're happy, I love it, but we are in a time where I feel a shift is coming, and it's really only if you are setting yourself up to be ready. Coming out of COVID-19, we're going to deal with a recession. There's going to be a lot of economical changes taking place.
Come on.
I think that people need to use this time to focus on them, starting with the temple, starting with their health, starting with their finances, because we have to be ready. We have to be able to continue to fight through this thing, because it will end. It will be over. And it'll be like, well, what did you do with a year worth of time that you had to make some changes, whether it was health wise, whether it was financially, whatever it could have been for you. And I think that health is at the forefront.
Yeah.
And now is the time. If you're not motivated now to take better care of yourselves, I don't know what people are waiting for.
Yeah. It's almost, I had to catch myself, because for one, I have to vibrate higher.
Yes.
But I was getting so angry a little bit and a little perturbed at the people. It's like, it just reminded me of when Jesus said, can you not tarry for 1 hour? Can you not sit out one party? Can you not out one? I mean, people are traveling and they're going places, and it's like, hey, I've been quarantined, not quarantined, but I've been in the house.
Yes.
I've been quarantined, in the house 8 months.
Yes.
I want to go dancing. I want to go out to eat. I went out to eat one time to celebrate my sister, and I'm looking around. I'm like, this doesn't feel normal.
Yes.
It makes me miss normality, or normalcy, so to speak. But I don't get it. I mean, it's like, you're absolutely right. And I had this conversation. I had a spiritual conversation, and God was like, listen, you're either going to emerge or submerge. I say this all the time on the show.
I love that. You are going to emerge or submerge. And I agree.
So when you said that, it's like, yes, you either, you got to look at this and don't just think, oh, what can you do? you said it. It's 8 months. This was in March.
Yes.
This happened in March. I got sick in March, right at the time. You're talking about being denied twice. What if you had been someone who was not as healthy?
Yes. And that was the scariest part for me. Just that brush with reality. It's like going through hoops to get tested. By that time, I could have been in an emergency room, not, enough adequate care. It could have been the worst of the worst for me. So I was grateful right away when I got the call from the CDC that I tested positive and they were asking me how I was feeling. And the fact that by that time, this is now 10 days later, after I had already had symptoms, by that time, I was able to begin light exercising again. So when I received that call and I didn't know the whole time what I had, I just knew I was sick. It was a moment of gratitude that came over me. And I said to myself personally, I don't know what other signs you are looking for to know that you are truly living your purpose. And it is your job and your goal to get people healthy, kicking, screaming, cursing, yelling, whatever it takes to get them in the gym, to get them to embrace a healthier lifestyle. And that's what I took away from it. I said, you survive this thing, knowing that people around you are losing their lives from the same virus. So I took it as just a moment of gratitude. And I told myself that I will continue to devote my time to just pushing health and wellness. I lived the lifestyle already. I walked the walk already. So it wasn't anything that I had to change in terms of that. If you know me to be fit. If you know me to be healthy. I've been practicing this lifestyle for over 15 years. This is not new to me. I don't need a script for this. This is who I am. So now, because of COVID-19, I whatever obstacles, whatever barriers are in the way, I know that I got to kick them down because I know that I'm called to just help people. And that's really what this was for me. It was a wake up call that I knew people needed help, but now, knowing that with this virus, it was really how healthy you were also had something to do with the outcome.
Sure.
And we've seen it medically, we've seen it in testing, we've seen it across the board. Those with underlying, or predisposed conditions, we saw worse turnouts for them. We saw death. We saw ventilators needed. We saw, a lot of people who had immune compromised diseases or conditions. We saw differences there. So we know that your health does factor in immunity and in your immune defense. So with that being said, it is a time where people have to make changes nutrition wise. It's not only about physical movement. Your health also has a lot to do with how you nourish the body. It also has a lot to do with your mental health. So just knowing that all these things play a key component in your immunity and your health. It is a time now for mental health professionals, physical fitness professionals. It's a time for us to really find ways to help people and get them into embracing a healthier lifestyle without making it overwhelming and boring.
Talk about how you are pivoting. Again, you have lived this and it was more illuminating for you already being a fitness professional to go even harder in the paint, as they say, or, how are you pivoting your business? Do you do virtual training? What are some other services you're offering? Because a lot of us, as I told you during in the virtual green room, I said, I love seeing, first of all, Black women pushing this health and wellness because so many times we are negligent with our bodies, with our time, with our mental health. So just to see you in this space as a model of fitness. I mean, you're gorgeous, but as a model of fitness, showing us what to do. What are something so let me say this. Let me go back. How are you pivoting your business and positioning yourself to get us into a place where we're taking more preventive measures?
Well, in terms of that, I did go virtually so that way I could provide a platform where people can feel comfortable. My gym is open for business.
Okay.
We are practicing social distancing guidelines set by the CDC. But just in case people needed another option, so, virtually, so that they feel safe to still move their body and engage in physical activity. I did pivot my business virtually. I did it very quickly. I did it the first week of the shutdown back in March. It was like I was fighting COVID-19 and figuring out how to log into Zoom at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like that's what we had to do. And right now we are living in a times of survival of the fittest. And it's our lives have always been designed that way, but this is a new level, and this is why this is a new level. And I want people to pay attention to this level, because it's either you got to get with it or you're going to get left behind, because things are moving. Although we are in a slow rate of progression, things are still moving and shifting around us. And you have the opportunity to either pivot during this time, or you can drown during this time. And I don't want to make light of the businesses out there who had to close their doors, who are suffering still during this time, because we all have been impacted in different ways. But because I'm designed to create solutions, that's what I do as a health provider. You just have to find a plan A and a plan B. And for me, it was going virtually. It was doing everything I had to do to seek grants and the funding that was put out there in place by SBA and, your local banks, for your paycheck protection programs. And I just had to do everything that I could to get my share. And thank God I did receive almost 30,000 in grants. Some of it I have to pay back, some of it I don't. But I say all of this to just say this is a trying time for us as business owners. And I could almost cry as I say this, because let me tell you, but we're going to put it back. We're going to put it back in there, girl, because we ain't going to shed on live. But it's a trying time, but we have to pivot. And that's what I did. And that's what I want anyone who's listening to this, who is an entrepreneur, to know. Listen, we got each other's back, even if it's just being there to listen. We get it. We understand. Reach out to whatever resources are out there. Don't take no for an answer, whether it's grants, whether it's loans. If you can sell anything online, if you can provide makeup consultations online, skincare online, whatever it is, whatever market, whatever niche you're in, try to take it online. Try to find I don't care what you're going to sell some creams, sell some lotion, do what you have to do, because we have to be resilient during this time, because it will pass. It will not be here forever. I am very, I'm very optimistic about the new year. And, we may have a vaccine coming. We'll have a new president coming. Things are going to change, and we just have to believe that. We have to feel that. We have to go with that, because we also have to birth and manifest what we want to see come forth for 2021. Yeah. And I know, many of us are hurting and we're struggling, and some of us have had to give up on some of our dreams that we've had forever. But my message to people is it's a time to start over, to pivot, to reposition. Do a makeover, whatever it is, but don't lose hope. Don't lose hope. And that's what has kept me going. That's what has kept me going.
I love your energy. It's good. It's very, I think it is necessary to have that kind of attitude, that kind of spirit, and I know it's not just, it's internal, and you are very, it's like the same thing. It's like I was telling someone, it's like, okay, if you, at the time, if you can't do massages, can you sell massage oil?
That's right. That's right.
You know, if you can't do nails, can you put together a kit? Like, you know, at the time, it was like you said, can you show people how to do something online? People thought, well, if I show them how to do this, they won't come back. Oh, they will.
It will, because no matter how much, listen, you just got to know in life what you're good at. We're not good at everything. You know, I was doing my own nails and everything during COVID. I couldn't wait to get back into somebody's chair.
Exactly. You know, you had manicurists coming up, creating, so enterprising, nail tips, you know, creating customized nail tips, press-on nails. You know, you had somebody else creating a shampoo conditioner kit and showing them how to do their hair, or at least keep their hair online. Then you had someone else, just even in the beauty industry. Then you might have somebody else that's a fitness person. It's like, okay, let's do virtual. You know, for me, because Michigan, we're number 5 and number 6, number 5 in deaths and number 6 in incidents. And it's like, okay, I put my gym membership on hold. So it's like people are online now, you know, and like you said, survival of the fittest. And we've not seen it this way. You know, we see how other countries are doing their citizens. As far as the United States, they gave us $1,200, and I'm saying us collectively, whoever it applies to, $1,200 last year. Not last year, it seems like last year.
Yes.
At the beginning, and said, okay, and then waited to the last minute to say, okay, we're not going to do CARES 2.0, you know, or whatever it is. I'm just saying, this is how the country is treating its own citizens.
Yes.
You better have something in place.
Yes.
You know, and we can support one another. That's because we are knitted together. Whether it's like, hey, girl.
Yes.
Without this loan.
Yes.
Hey,
what I did.
Grant. And if you can help them write that thing, you know, do it. You know, it's all about, it's like, well, what can you do? It's like, let me proof it for you. It's like, let me read it for, you know, let me do this, you know, and fix it for you. So it's all about really coming together. Yes, survival of the fittest, but
helping one another. And I think now more than ever, I think people, they see the importance of it.
Yeah.
And I saw it firsthand. When I saw that a lot of my fellow entrepreneurs knew nothing about what they were entitled to.
Yeah.
I saw it when they didn't know, after being in business for 10, 15 years, they didn't have business bank accounts. They didn't have LLCs. They didn't, you know, they've been running businesses, but the lack of knowledge is there in terms of how they should have set their businesses up. And because of that, I'm like, everything I learn, I want to give it back. And I want to teach it, because you see it more amongst Black-owned businesses, the lack of, you know, this is not necessarily information that is readily available in our communities. And it's set up and is designed that way for a reason. And it's not that you can't go and self-educate yourself, because we all should do that. But it's in terms of just the resources and knowing where to go and knowing who can mentor you. A lot of that is like hidden. It's not exposed. And after this, that is one of the things that I want to do. I want to be able to use my failures and my strengths to be able to empower some people, you know, especially younger people, but all ages, on how to set up, you know, things with your business and just how to be able to collaborate with others. Because that's the thing too. You don't have to know everything. It's not your goal. It's not your job in life to know everything, but it is one of your goals in life to know how to connect with those around you who know the things that you don't.
And a lot of people are not, they don't know where to look, like you said. And they just, you know, they're just not, they would really rather you hand it to them. And that's why it's like, there's a book, you know, there's an ebook, somebody, it's like, because they're not going to go and Google, you know what I mean? And and it used to bother me, like, well, yeah, just look it up. But it's like, I'm a journalist, so I literally have to look up everything, whether it's a source, information, background. I had to look up information on you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just so I could, okay, what's her website? If it was not provided, or, you know, if it was something, let me pull this. It's like, okay, Tamika, you like those pictures? Okay, perfect. You know, so that is my nature. But a lot of people want to be handed certain information. It's like, that's for people. There's an opportunity. There's an opportunity for an entrepreneur, or, you know, okay, here's a book, ABCs of starting a business. You know, do you have an LLC? Do you have a business banking account? Do you have EIN? All those different things to take advantage. Whereas here it was, the funding was there, but yet you didn't have that paperwork.
Let me tell you something. There was enough money being given for you to be able to start a whole new business.
Yeah.
Some of the money I missed out on, but I'm trying to recoup it now with SBA. I got a good share. I'm grateful for what I did get, because some people got zero.
Yes.
But let me tell you something. This was such an eye opener. How important it is to have your finances in order. SBA was giving out loans between $30,000 to $40,000. Okay, you're talking 3% interest rate. You're talking 10 months to a year deferred payment. That's enough money to hold you down and maybe redesign your business, depending on what it is that you're in and how badly you were hit.
Right.
But the reason I mention this is because you could have done all your books. You could have done everything right. But let's say if you weren't establishing business credit and you was using your own credit history, and let's say your credit score wasn't just right, you would have been so entitled to that money, but you would not have been able to get it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Yes. So it's coming out of this, I learned so much. You know, I learned so much, and I just want to keep beating down doors so I can use my knowledge and my platform to help people, you know, because so many people just don't know, and we have to do better as a community. And when it comes to business, I just want to see more people winning, because let me tell you something, the money was there, the funds was there, but we know who was getting it.
And even some people that were not supposed to be getting it, like, you know, the major corporations, it's like, excuse me.
Yes.
Ruth Chris.
Yes.
Excuse me, Marriott. Like,
but we needed it, and we still need it, and
we still need it.
So I'm just hoping that more will come. We're still impacted. Even me, my gym is operating at 50% capacity. You know, so I am grateful for everyone who is walking through my doors and who aren't afraid to step back in a gym and continue their healthy journey.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are not coming in, you know, so you just have to be resilient during this time.
Yep.
I know that it will end. I believe it in my heart. I believe a shift is coming. And I just ask that people stay prayerful, stay encouraged. And one of the reasons why I push health and wellness so much is because it is one of those things that can heighten your vibration. It is one of those things that can have you feeling, turn a day where you're frowning and you're down. It is one of those things that can turn it up, you know, and it's one of those things that can put a smile on your face. And we have to pull ourselves more. We have to pull more of those things into our lives, because those are the things that's going to keep us well. Because it's very easy to get depressed, and down and lethargic and lazy and unmotivated during a time like this.
And we want to make sure we indicate your Instagram is at Body by Tamika.
Yes.
And then your website is bodybytamika.com. Because you do virtual. So that means anybody can train with you and not be in the New York area, correct?
Yes. And I am putting all my energy into building an even greater platform online.
Great. It's already beautiful. I love the website.
Building the bricks for your storefront.
You
know, I think it takes just as much energy and effort, if not more. And I think it takes you getting out of your own way.
That's good, girl.
Because when you build a store, you don't have to worry about the level of marketing and advertisement where it's face to face like this. Not all of us feel so great doing this. And
no, they don't.
I'm building a company right now where I'm helping businesses rebrand and reinvent themselves, because not all of us feel comfortable like this. And it takes me some time to get out of my own way and say, girl, put that damn camera up and get over yourself, And you and I both know how much energy and how much confidence it takes. Some people say, I hate the way I look in a photo. I hate to hear myself speak, so building an online platform, it requires a lot of work and effort, but it also requires you just being confident in who you are and just understanding that the world is going to adore that person and love that person for who they are, and just put yourself out there.
Yeah.
So that being said, that's what I'm doing, and who don't like it, just click delete,
what? Yes. That's good. Because it does take a lot. I said, this is, I started in March. God was like, launch, emerge, submerge, launch. Because I was doing this in person. And I was like, I'm not doing it in person, but this is my sixth. You are actually episode 64 since I started in May.
Busier.
And it's like, I said, okay, I'm off the rest of the week. Because it is, people, this is what I do, and I love it. But it does, if it were easy, everybody would do it. We make it look easy, and I realize everybody doesn't feel comfortable in front. But that's a business in and of itself. Come on over here and let me coach you. You know what I mean?
So that is what's coming out of this pandemic. Ideas and the ability to evolve and rebirth and be creative, because in this free time that you have, use it to
because we don't know how much longer it's going to be, do we?
Yes, we don't. But let me tell you something. I joke and I tell people 2020 is canceled. And what I meant by that for me is I'm putting all the energy I have into what I'm building for 2021.
Yeah.
I was no longer concerned with trying to keep up with whatever pieces of the world was open.
Yes.
If I'm social distancing correctly, that means that I'm really not out and about besides essential, very important things. That's
what happened this summer. People, I say, it's still too early, y'all.
Yeah. Early. It is, so I'm very grateful for the way I took on the pandemic.
Yeah.
I put energy into building what is to come for me. And everybody stay tuned and follow me and reach out if you have any questions. I will get back to you ASAP. I answer all of my own emails and, and text as much as I can now. As I grow, maybe not, but I do. And I take it personally, just being accessible and just being able to be there to help people.
Before we close, one question. If this would you do this all over again? Do you see COVID? And I want to be very politically correct because I don't want to offend anybody. As far as anybody that has lost a loved one, has gone through, I had COVID, but I want to make sure I say this correctly.
I know where you're going with this.
Would you do this all over again? Did you see this as COVID as an opportunity to come away stronger? Did you look at that as a gift in disguise, a blessing and a curse?
Yes.
Was it a blessing and a curse for you to get COVID?
I said at the beginning of COVID, I said, in adversity, there's opportunity.
There you go.
And to answer your question, I would do this over again without the lives lost.
Yes. There it is. Yes, absolutely. That's what I was trying to say. That's what I wanted to make sure. It's like, God, if we could have gotten this year to rebirth and to reassess
Yes.
and then retool without 250,000 lives lost.
Yes.
There
But
it is.
I am grateful for the experience because it's life changing.
Yeah.
I don't see life the same way. I see it more. I've always been pretty humble and I've always had gratitude, but I see it more as purposeful. Now I know what I have to do. And that came out of COVID. And it's made me more humble. It's made me more grateful. And it made me appreciate the small things more. But it really, during this time, it was either you were helping someone in a way. If you were already a leader, you took on more leadership.
Yeah.
So with
Yeah.
that being said, it made me know that I'm living my purpose and I
Yeah.
want to be even more of a leader than I already am. And those are the things that I took away from it. And I don't know if anything else in life may have taught me what it taught me the way that it did in such a short period of time. And that I'm grateful for.
Thank you so much for such a courageous and inspiring story. I hope everybody that is watching and will watch, will be inspired and encouraged by what you have come away with as a result of being a survivor and an enterprising businesswoman. I'm inspired, and I guess that's it.
Yes.
We're in the dark. Okay. Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Yes, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Pleasure. Bye.